Good morning. It's 7:04 on this Friday, July 15th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, a Friday morning, and we're almost to the middle of the month of July, believe it or not. And this morning, as always, on Friday on the air for Wilson Bank and Trust. Scott Jasper is here this morning. Scott, good to see you.
Good morning, Coleman.
How are you?
All doing well.
I was going to read your title there on your name tag.
You got to get your
Let me see if I can put my
magnifying
glasses on and read it. You're going to have to get closer.
All right, come on.
Executive Vice President. What's the rest?
He's Chief Retail Officer.
All right. Well, you've been with the bank a long time. You've been out here and done the commercial many, many times, and I'd like to think that you and I are pretty good friends.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We've shared a few laughs.
And you do the Kentucky Blue thing.
Oh, yeah. I always slide it in, so it's always good. You got to slide that in every now and then. So it's
what you got for us today?
So, Coleman, we've got a great event coming up this weekend. You know, back last year, we partnered with the Nashville Super Speedway and did some things out there. And so this year, coming up this weekend, we are doing what we are calling a Wilson Bank and Trust Day at the Track, and it is in conjunction with Easter Seals of Tennessee. And so what that means is that you can bring your car out. It could be a truck, it could be a Honda Civic, and I say that because my son's bringing his, or it could be, your Corvette, whatever it is, and you can do 3 laps around the track, and this will be paced by the Nashville Super Speedway pace car. And probably looking at speed somewhere between 60 to 70 miles an hour that you can go around the track. And so it just gives an opportunity for people to come out and see the speedway. There's 14-degree banking there in the turns, 9 degrees in the front stretch, and 6 degrees on the back stretch. So if anybody has been out there, it's a neat speedway and just an opportunity to get out and do that. So the cost is $60 per vehicle, and all that money goes to Easter Seals. And that will be on Saturday, July the 16th, starting at 10 up until 1 o'clock. And so you can come anytime during that period.
So we got a 3-hour window there,
Yep.
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
And 60 to 70 miles around the track in your car, following the pace car.
That's it.
How long does it take to go around that track?
Well,
you done that?
I have done the racing experience out there where they let you get out there and you drive a car. I mean, you're in helmet and the full regalia. So it depends on how fast you want to push that pedal. You can get around out there. So, it's a 1.3 track. And so, in 60 to 70, I'd say, it might take a minute or so, just depends. But it's neat because we were out there during the race back in the latter part of, or the first part of July there. And it was a, great event out there, so they've done a great thing out there bringing the track back.
$60, and if you like it so much you want to do it again, you can pay $60 and do it twice.
Well, we might work that out. Probably between all the people. I think yesterday we've got about a little over almost 180 folks signed up for it. So we've been promoting it on social media. You can also go sign up at easterseals.com there, a big banner there on there. Also on our social media site, Wilson Bank and Trust Facebook site. Easter Seals has theirs. The Nashville Super Speedway, you can go and link to it from there. So it's been a great response to it. So
this seems I know you're always involved in community things, but this seems a little bit different. I don't think you've ever done anything just like this before.
No, we've never had that. Since the track's first time was out, last year, getting everything, and they were getting things spun up and doing different things. So now it's just kind of getting into that sponsorship opportunity, and so. This was a great partnership to do that, and we appreciate Eric Moses and his group out there allowing us to come out and do that, and then working with Easter Seals, which is kind of in correlation. A lot of folks may Prospect that was here. That's kind of that group of folks, and so Andy White and his group have been great to work with. So it's just a neat event just for people to kind of come out on a Saturday afternoon.
Well, that many people already signed up. You're going to make a great contribution, a really sizable contribution.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be a great event, something that's fun to come out and do. I think everybody's always maybe had that little glimmer of, man, I'd like to get out and take my truck around that track, one of those things. But it's going to be fun. So.
All right. That is tomorrow.
That is tomorrow,
From
Saturday.
10 to 1.
10 to 1. You can monitor our social sites. I think weather, knock on wood, should be good tomorrow. But if something does come up, you can follow the Wilson Bank and Trust social media site, Easter Seals, and the National Super Speedway to monitor any changing events there. But encourage folks, still go out, sign up today, come out, be a part. We're looking forward to a great day tomorrow.
All right, we've got about a minute to talk about banking.
Yeah.
Anything else about banking we need to discuss?
Coleman's still going strong. A lot of opportunities are still available out there for construction and different things like that, Coleman. So, with our 29 offices that we have, we're there to help. And so always, if you need anything, feel free to stop in or give us a call or visit us on wilsonbank.com.
All right. Scott Jasper, Executive Vice President, thanks for being with us today. We'll remind you it's Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender, Middle Tennessee's community bank with excellence in banking since 1987. Thank you.
Thanks, Coleman. Good to see you.
We are 10 minutes after the hour, and this morning I have as my guest Mr. Charles Lehman. He is a candidate for trustee of Wilson County, and the general election coming up on August the 4th, and early voting, I believe, starts today. And Mr. Lehman is with us this morning to talk about his candidacy. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Nice to see you today.
Well, thank you very much. I grew up in Noreen, Tennessee, down on Jug Creek. And I went to school there in that two-teacher school that used to be there. Miss Robbie Cole taught the first 4 grades, and Miss Hazel Knowles taught the upper 4 grades.
Did you go there 8 years?
Yes, sir, sure did. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Of course, Miss Ollie D. Johnson was our cook, and wonderful, wonderful food. I really feel like we ought to go back to the smaller schools today.
Well, what about high school?
Well, I went on to high school up at Watertown, and played football under Brownie Johnson. I was real proud of playing for Brownie Johnson.
What year?
Brownie Robinson, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Brownie Robinson.
Yeah, there's a Brownie Johnson at Noreen, right?
That's right, you're exactly right.
I remember him, too. Used to sing a little bit.
Yes, sir, he did.
When were you in high school?
Well, I graduated in 1973.
Okay, all right. Well, Brownie Robinson was quite a coach and made quite a name for himself. You probably got a lot of memories you could share there.
Yes, sir. I sure do. I enjoyed him. I was a fan of Vince Lombardi back then, and I kind of saw a little bit of Vince Lombardi in Brown.
Yeah. What have you done since high school?
Well, of course, went on to college over at MTSU, and I worked at several of the factories when I first got out of high school around here in town.
Mm-hmm.
While I was in high school, I actually worked at the old garment factory behind the square. Yeah.
Okay.
But when I got out of high school, I went to work at custom packaging, but I went to MTSU and studied agriculture, and eventually got on with the State Division of Property Assessments, where I stayed for 34 years.
Well, let me, I think we've got a pretty good idea of your background here. And I think maybe this would be a place to mention, too, that you lost your wife just a few days ago, really,
Yes,
and
sir.
you were scheduled to be here earlier. And because of her situation, we had to make you, let you come today. Certainly appreciate you being here. But having said all of this, why are you running for trustee?
Well, a few years ago, I retired from the state. I'm trying to find something to do now. And I don't feel like a man should just stop and sit in his recliner and watch TV. I believe you should keep on stretching. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to reach on out there and find that next talent and try to.
As far as qualifications go, or as far as knowledge off the job, how much do you know about the office and being trustee of Wilson County?
Well, I worked with the Division of Property Assessments, and I pretty much know and worked in and understand the tax system from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through boo-hoogles, arm-long classes of training. And so I know the tax system very good.
Okay, what you've been campaigning, I'm sure as you could. Your wife's situation probably put a crimp in that to some extent, but you feel pretty confident going into early voting today and into the election on August 4th?
Well, I kind of do, but I kind of don't. I really don't know how to feel that. I've been out beating the bushes. I've actually been campaigning over a year now. So down to about a little over 2 weeks now left.
All right, we've got to take a break right here. Charles Lehman, candidate for trustee, is with us this morning. We've got more to talk about after we go to this break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
Let's go ahead and see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford, and get a battery installed on most vehicles. It's $134.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. THP's out here with a couple of accidents. Traffic actually looks pretty good at the moment coming through Mount Juliet, leaving Wilson County, headed towards Hermitage. Traffic's off to a good start also on 65 up through Brentwood, Franklin. We've seen more radar out here in the last hour than we have accidents. Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, they're home of the world famous cotton candy wine. Now they've got some new flavors, red velvet, birthday cake. Check it out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Contact Stephen Lowry Land Clearing for all your land clearing needs. Whether it's clearing trails for ATVs, reclaiming pasture, or clearing your land of brush and trees, Stephen Lowry can get the job done. He works closely with customers, adjusting to make changes as you want. Steve Lowry will give you quality work at a price that you can afford. He will also beat any written estimate. Call Stephen Lowry at 615-970-8154 for all your land clearing needs. That's Stephen Lowry Land Clearing, 615-970-8154.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. It is a Friday morning, and Charles Lehman is here, and we continue to discuss his candidacy for trustee of Wilson County. And a reminder again, early voting starts today, and we'll go for a period of time, and then Election Day on August the 4th. You are running, I believe, as an independent, right?
That's correct.
You did not choose to get into the Republican primary. And, of course, there were 2 candidates for trustee there. The incumbent won that, and he's on the ballot, and, of course, you're on as an independent. Any particular reason for you running as an independent? I mean, you could be a Democrat, you could be a Republican, you could be an independent, but...
Well, I chose to run as an independent because it is such a big county, and I wanted to get out and personally talk to as many people as I could. And by choosing an independent candidacy, it gave me 3 more months to get out and talk to people. And that's what I've been doing almost every day.
What are people's concerns about the trustee's office as they talk to you? Are there any particularly? I know people are interested in how much taxes they have to pay, but the trustee doesn't really have anything to do with that. He collects it, or he or she, yeah.
That's correct. The trustee is basically your tax collector. He has several other responsibilities. And, you know, people, I really haven't had a lot of conversation about issues or concerns about the trustee's office.
Are there some things you would like to change? Do you have some criticisms, or maybe some positive ideas about how things could be done different, or you feel like you just take over and run it like it's going?
I think the office is rolling pretty good. The main thing I want to see that is taking place is that there's a daily reconciliation of the funds so that we know what's taken in is going to the bank.
Is the staffing adequate as far as you know?
Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah. So you don't think you'd need any additional employees?
No, sir.
If you're elected trustee, you just take over and operate with those that you have now.
Yes,
Making
sir.
that one change there that you talked about. Is anything else? What about the county's money? Now, I understand that that is pretty much the banks get to financial institutions get to bid on.
That's right, and it's
Do
my
you like
understanding.
that, and would you continue that?
Oh, yes, sir. In fact, I believe it is a law that you have to take bids now.
Okay.
I believe that's a law that Mr. Major instigated.
Right. Okay.
But
So
I understand about that. I worked in supply service at the VA hospital over in Murfreesboro when I was in college, so I understand all about sending out bids.
yeah. Okay. The office is quite busy when it's time to collect taxes, and that period, I believe, is October 1 through February 28th. But the busier times, as I have observed, is at the end of the calendar year in December,
Yes,
and
sir.
then, of course, in February at the end of the time you've got to get them in.
Yes, sir.
And what about back taxes? Are you familiar with that? I think we have a back tax collector.
The back tax attorney is Bob Rochelle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you if you're a trustee, would you make any change there?
Oh, certainly not. I think a lot of Bob. Of course, I'm not sure that the trustee could go out and hire his own attorney. Maybe could, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't want to change that at all.
Yeah.
I saw that there's a back tax sale coming up just right after right after the vote, the election.
Well, there's a lot of money that comes in through property taxes, and
Yes, sir.
which the trustee is responsible for, and there's I guess there's state regulators, state people who
Yes, sir.
check on the accuracy of the office and how it's running.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct.
So there's not a whole lot of room for error there. If
That's
you're not
exactly
doing
right.
They're going to get on you.
That's right. You're exactly right. Down in the assessor's office is a lot more room for wiggle and to change things around. But once it gets up to the trustee's office, you're right. It's very much a cut and dry.
Any particular changes in personnel that you would make if you take over September 1 as trustee? Would we see a lot of changes and new faces or anything like that?
Oh, no, not at all. I believe that the people in place at the trustee's office now have been there long enough. They've developed a certain level of expertise, and I certainly wouldn't want to lose a single one of them.
We sometimes talk about term limits, and I don't know whether this is something you want to particularly talk about or not. Some people, there are a lot of, we hear more people that seem to be for term limits today, and the incumbent, Mr. Major, has been there a good while.
Yes, sir, he's
Anything
been
you
there
want to say
16
about that
years.
one way or the other?
Well, Mr. Major's been there 16 years now, and I would be absolutely fine with term limits. I don't know what the term limit would be. Maybe 2 terms. I'm not sure. That would be something for the county commission to determine.
You wouldn't have a problem though if we did that.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, are there other issues here that need to be discussed this morning from your perspective? We've here again. We've got an incumbent who, as you said, been there for 4 terms, 16 years, and you're wanting that job.
Yes, sir.
Well, you hear anything criticism as you talk to people? You've been campaigning now for a good while.
Well, I have heard some criticisms, but I don't. They're not pretty criticisms, and I don't want to talk about them on the radio.
Okay. If you're running a positive campaign,
I guess so.
trying to.
Has more to do with friendship than a positive campaign.
Yeah. Does the I don't know how many millions of dollars that come through that office, but there's a lot of responsibility on the one who's in charge there, and we're talking about millions of dollars. Does that bother you at all? Is that an intimidating thing, or you think you handle that just fine?
Oh yeah, I can handle that just fine. Yes, sir. I was looking at the numbers. The taxes itself is in the billions, and when you get down, there's a lot of ends, if, ands, ors, or buts, and you get down to into 20-something billions by the time you get to the bottom of this budget.
Wow.
So it's big.
Yeah. Well, there's I think there's a couple of things, two or three ways that I know there's an opportunity for people who qualify to get a tax break.
Oh yes, sir.
And is that's I imagine that's something you want to continue. Some very low income, fixed income people have been able to get a little bit of tax relief. And that's been, I think, initiated through the trustee's office and the county commission that has gone along with that. You approve of that and want that to continue?
Oh, certainly, I certainly do. Back before my mama passed away, she was on the tax relief program. The tax relief program is for the elderly, the disabled, for disabled veterans and widowers of disabled veterans. The maximum income, I think this is per month, it's $31,600. But we got sky high valuations now.
Mm-hmm.
The market value, you don't get, like if you got a $350,000 piece of property or a farm worth $1 million, the tax relief program only applies to $30,000 of that.
Okay.
And the thing of it is, if you're on Social Security, you're probably gonna you're probably gonna, well, what I'm getting at, what I'm trying to say is, if you've got a little bit of retirement, you're probably gonna go over.
Okay.
If you're just on Social Security, you're probably gonna qualify.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got a little bit of retirement to go with that, you're probably gonna go over.
And wouldn't qualify for the tax break.
That's right. And
Yeah.
there's also a tax freeze in Wilson County and Lebanon. And, you know, I've been away from it a few years. I don't exactly remember how the tax freeze, whether it was the tax dollars or the appraisal. I think it's the appraisal is frozen.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got about a couple of minutes left here this morning, so I'm going to now let you kind of wrap it up for us this morning and summarize your candidates here and tell the folks why you think you, Charles Lehman, should be our next trustee.
Well, I am a lifelong resident of Wilson County. Of course, I studied over at MTSU and then finally went on up to TSU and studied public administration. Worked in and took classes. I know the tax system from beginning to end. I believe I would make an excellent choice for your next tax trustee.
All right. And again, you'll be on the ballot as an independent.
That's correct.
And then you're being opposed by the Republican nominee. There are two of you on there. Early voting starts today.
That's correct.
It goes for a period of time here. I don't have the end date in front of me.
30th.
30th, okay. All right. And then the election on August 4th.
That's correct.
And we'll find out who our next trustee is going to be at that time. All right. I want to thank you for taking time to be here today, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts and ideas with us. Charles Lehman, candidate for trustee of Wilson County. And that is part one of Coleman and Company. You want to say thank you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Coleman, for having me here.
All right. Well, you look like you wanted to say something. I don't want to deny you the opportunity, but we appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. That's part one of Coleman and Company. Keep it here for more. FM 98.9.
And it's 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, large inventory of new and used Kubota mowers, RTVs, tractors, hay equipment, and more. Come in Saturday. Free popcorn. Check out the new Kubota products. 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase even more now. Coming down the interstate here through Millersville. It's been pretty slow go from time to time on 65 southbound. Trying to get through Robertson County down through Millersville, Sumner County as well. Yeah, watching it build out here now on 65 through Brentwood. First and Spring Street, we saw them working a two-car wreck there a few minutes ago. Trying to clean up that earlier wreck, the paperwork there at Brick Church Pike and OHB. There's a high demand for dental assistants, and Dental Staff School has an amazing 98% placement rate. Google Dental Staff School. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
When you're Middle Tennessee's community bank, you have a greater responsibility than offering just a menu of financial services. At Wilson Bank and Trust, we make it our mission to know our neighbors, meet their needs, and invest in the communities we serve. Whether we are working with our students to build their youth savings or partnering with a local business owner to fulfill their dreams, our goal is always to make our communities even stronger. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of the fabric of Wilson County for more than 30 years and always supporting us in our efforts to serve you, give back, and grow. Member FDIC.
I'm Glenn Denton and your primary candidate for 20th District Commissioner. I'm the only real conservative on the ballot and the only one listed for this seat. But I have two write-ins opposing me, so I need each one of your votes. No more huge property tax hikes or piling up a big debt. We have gone over 25 years without proper representation, and I have served 33 years in this district spiritually, truthfully, and boldly. It's time for a wise choice, a clear voice for clean government. Elect Glenn Denton, 20th District Commissioner.
Lower to middle 90s today and tomorrow. Expect plenty of sunshine both days. Humidity levels increase on Sunday, allowing for a few showers and storms across the area. Rain chances also stick around into Monday. Lows overnight will dip only into the upper 60s with mostly clear skies. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Eric Shriva.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two. It's a Friday morning, and I always look forward to this because this second half of Coleman and Company means we're not far from the weekend. C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, 1330 West Main in Lebanon. We've got Medina and Miss Judy here today. Judy Cox, Medina Hemmentoller. They sometimes look like twins, but they're actually mother and daughter. Miss Judy, how you doing?
Doing good. It's
Medina,
Friday.
You okay?
I'm good.
All right. Well, we usually, if anything funny is going to happen, it happens when the two of you are.
Well, it was confusing because I thought red meant stop and green meant go, and the red light's on, so we weren't ready to go.
Was that light green earlier? It
No.
was. Okay. No. What was? What? Okay, right.
Okay, so we weren't ready to go because we thought it was red.
Have the on the air light up there by the clock. It hasn't worked for a while,
right.
of course. But they decided rather than MJ and I having hand signals, we would put a light in here.
So red means go.
Well, it does now. It was green for a few days, and then they made it red. I don't. They didn't ask me, so I
We
don't
thought
worry
it was
about
red, so we thought we had plenty of time, so we're goofing off.
Oh, well, anyway, you're located, your business is located at 1330 West Main in Lebanon. Great people, great service, and we get to talk about you and with you every Friday at this time, and it kind of livens up our weekend to know that when you come, the weekend is not far away.
That's right.
So
The fun girls are here.
who's going to take off this morning?
Well, I was going to talk just a second about this new form that a lot of the realtors are using. It's called an appraisal gap form. So they finally came up with a form with it because so many people are using it with all the bidding that's been going on. But kind of what it boils down to, if you had a house listed at $350, used to, if you bid $350 on it for full price, and then the appraisal come in, then what would happen if the appraisal came in at $340? Then everybody would back up and let's renegotiate because the house is not worth $350 that I bid on it. It's worth $340. So then normally the buyer would either walk away or say, I'm only paying for what it appraised for, $340 or whatever. And then sometimes the seller would say, well, okay, I've got to come down to $340. Or sometimes the seller would go, look, I'm going to come down to $345. I'll make up half of it and you make up half of it. So there's all kinds of ways it can plan out. But there's an appraisal gap form now that, like if somebody has a house listed at $350 and the guy bids $360 on it so he can get that particular property, outbid everybody else. So you're like, okay, that's great. Well, they would bid on it. Then we had to wait for an appraisal to come before it all panned out what was going to really happen. So the poor seller sat in there waiting and waiting for the appraisal to come. And I don't know if I'm getting $360 or if I'm getting $350. Then what happens after with this appraisal gap, he can put this form in there that says, I'm going to bid $360 on it, even though you're asking $350. So then if it only comes in, if the appraisal comes in at $340, then I'm going to pay up to X amount of dollars over the appraisal. And on the appraisal gap form, he can put, I'm offering you $360 for a $350 house. If it comes in at $340, I'm going up to $10,000 over the appraisal price, up to the $350 that I've bid or the $360 that I've bid. Mm-hmm. So that way it protects the seller. They know, okay, if it's not going to go over $360, but I'm going to get more, $10,000 more than it's worth. And that settles that appraisal gap there. Now, of course, the buyer's got to have that extra money to put in because some of the loan companies are not going to give you $10,000 more than what the house is worth. So you got to have that extra cash from somebody or somewhere lined up ahead of time, and you got to prove that you've got the extra funds to do that besides your particular bank loan. And this is a new form that's come out, and it kind of solves the problem. Everybody knows what page you're on.
It's a little clarification.
That's right, because it says if it doesn't appraise, here's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And that way the seller knows I'm guaranteed I'm getting $10,000 more than it's appraised for if I take this particular buyer. So it's called an appraisal gap form, and with the bidding wars that have been going on, that kind of puts everybody a little bit on a better playing field. Plus, it lets that seller know I'm not tying my house up for 30 more days waiting for an appraisal to see what's going to fall through. Okay. Because with people bidding, we've had some bid up to $70,000 more than what the house is listed for. Well, that's really scary because you're thinking, well, if it's worth $70,000 more, why didn't we list it for 70 more? So that can get really scary there. So, and people were doing those kind of things just so they could get the bid. Well, you've got the bid on it, but then when the appraisal comes, what's going to happen? That bid might not be worth anything at that point if you haven't covered the bases. So it's a good form, and we're using it, and seems like the buyers and sellers are more confident with it.
Okay. Well, good lesson there. Now it's Medina's turn.
Well, I was going to tell you about a listing that we've got, but, we put it on the market, and within less than 24 hours, we have it under contract. So those properties are still happening, even though we're still showing, even though it's under contract. That was on Rome Pike, 1104 Rome Pike. And it went under contract within 24 hours of listing it. And it's still showing. And we're seeing a lot of that come about more now to where most of them are staying on the market a little bit longer. But this was a exceptional house. And we lucked up and somebody came and put an offer on it and they accepted it. But we're also looking for more listings. If you are looking to want to move across town, you have to move because of your job, give us a call. We'd be glad to come out and tell you how much we think your house would be worth to put it on the market, what we think you would get out of the house, and then help you find something else if that was the case. Remember, we're not only Wilson County, we do surrounding counties as well, and we also have lots for sale toward the lake. We've got a farm in Watertown available that's 80 acres, all fenced, already perked for a 4-bedroom, has water and electricity on the property. So it's ready to go. We just needs a new buyer for that. So
All right.
give us a call for that. But yeah, the market is still hot. It's cooling down a little bit, but we still have properties here for you to look at.
And you're still doing what you like to do.
That's exactly right. If you don't do what you like, then you don't need to be doing it.
And people are coming in right now looking on the internet for getting their kids in a new school. They're transferring here and they want to put their kids in school, getting ready to register. So we're having several, we had a couple of new managers moving into town for businesses here this week, and they're trying to hurry and get a place to get their kids registered. So people are still looking for homes.
All right. Y'all have a great weekend, a great week. We'll see you next Friday.
And 2 things here. Want to tell, shout out to my husband. His birthday is tomorrow.
Oh.
I won't tell how old he is because he's not happy about it. But it's happy birthday, Greg. And then remember, don't make a move without us.
All right.
And
good.
Chick-fil-A's at our office today.
Yes, Chick-fil-A's at our
Chick-fil-A,
office. 10:30
Chick-fil-A,
to 2.
1330 West Main. All right.
Yes.
C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, and of course they're with us each Friday at this time. We are 20 minutes before the hour, and I want to welcome my guest for part 2 and tell everybody that he's paying for this time. We welcome Andy Ogles, candidate for 5th District Congress, and once again, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and I say once again because you were here with us once before when we were able to get an interview. I was able to interview all 9 of you who are running for the Republican nomination for this office, and I think you liked us so well you decided to pay for some more time to be with us.
Well, you know, it's always great to be here with you and to talk to your listeners. And yeah, I mean, it's early voting has started, and it's go time.
Well, when you got a field of 9 candidates and there's 9 different opportunities or 9 to select from, let's say, and I have heard from the polls that it seems like you are among the top, if not at the top, and that's got to be a good feeling for you. But how do you feel at this point?
Well, you know, like you said, you know, we're leading. In fact, one of my opponents, they're going to spend, you know, you can pull a media report to see what people are spending, and they have a PAC that's going to spend $500,000 attacking me. And it's a blatantly false ad, but it's whatever. You know, when you're over the target, you start catching flack, and clearly I'm over the target. You know, we're working hard. We're going to finish strong, but you know, really one of the reasons why I wanted to come up here is, you know, we have, you know, country music artist Trace Atkins is a friend of mine. You know, back in during COVID, we had a concert on the square, and he came out, and it was a great event. We had about 35,000 people there, but we're doing a meet and greet with Trace Atkins here in Lebanon next week. And, you know, you can go to andyogles.com or check me out on Facebook. You have to register to attend. Obviously, we got to know who's coming to the event, but you literally will get to see Trace Atkins.
Yeah, where's this going to be? You want to tell us a little more about that? The Farm Bureau Expo Center, Fairgrounds?
Yeah, we're doing it. Once you register, we'll give you the information. But no, it's here locally in Lebanon, and we've got a couple of great sponsors. And in fact, I got Rick Williams here with me, and you know, Rick really helped put all of this together. But you know, I'm excited, and what you need to know about Trace is what you see is what you get. He's a really just good person. Now he's like 6'7" and wears cowboy boots. You know, I'm tall. But he towers over me, and so it's one of those situations where when you see Trace, you know, even if you're tall like I am, you feel quite short. And but it's a great event, and it's an honor to be here. We've got family up in this area, and I look forward to representing the 5th Congressional District in this area. But Rick, why don't you lay down all the particulars? Now we're kind of letting the cat out of the bag because we just now are really releasing this to the public because we know it's going to be such an awesome event.
Well, we're extremely excited about Tuesday evening, and it's going to be here in Wilson County. It's going to be at someone's home. We have 3 sponsors, Ken Nelson, A.J. McCall, and Frank Bryant. All 3 are the hosts and sponsors of this, and we're excited about that. Big Ken, Win with Ken. Everybody knows Ken Nelson, and, of course, A.J. McCall is a fixture in this community, and Frank Bryant is a native of the area, and so we're proud to have them sponsoring us. We're going. And like I said, if you go to the website, you can get more details about it. But it's a fundraiser for Andy, but it's also a chance for people to come out and meet Andy and meet Trace. And as we know, today is the first day of early voting, so we encourage everybody to go vote.
I take it you're going to be able to hear some music. That's the reason for Trace, or is it?
Yeah, this is more of a meet and greet. Now, he may pull out a guitar and sing a tune or two, but it's really about just talking about the issues, and we want it to be more personal than just trying to put on a concert. And but again, this is it. This election really matters, and that's why when you look at, I've been endorsed by the House Freedom Caucus and Jim Jordan. Your conservative congressmen have endorsed me. You look at the other conservative organizations across the country. In fact, I can't tell you who it is now, but you have a big national organization that's endorsing me today. And it's just one of those, I have a track record of fighting for Tennessee. I have a track record for pushing back against the administration when they were infringing on freedom and liberty. And so that's why we're the front runner, and why, quite frankly, the rhinos in this race are going to spend $500,000 here in the last 2 weeks trying to beat me because it's all for them. It's all about power. It's all about control. And for me, it's all about freedom. It's all about liberty.
All right, we need to go to a break, but before we do, one more time, that website where you can get information about this meet and greet, if you will.
AndyOgles.com.
Yeah, and you can check it out. Just go to facebook.com/Andy Ogles. Or if you just go to your Facebook and search Andy Ogles, it'll pull up my campaign page.
So to be that simple.
That simple.
If you remember Andy Ogles, you can find
That's
it.
right.
You should be able to, yes, sir.
All right, let's take a break, and more coming up on Coleman and Company FM 98.9.
And it's 7:47. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, regular oil change $34.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal $16.73. West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. There's still quite a bit of traffic volume. 65 southbound trying to get down through Goodlettsville, Millersville especially. That's been a little bit slow coming out of Robertson County through that small section there of Sumner County on 65 southbound. It's building pretty good over in Mount Juliet. We watched that traffic grow quite a bit, increase quite a bit there on I-40 coming in from Mount Juliet. Hey, Gatlinburg Wine Cellar, they're home of the world famous cotton candy wine. They've got some new flavors. Check them all out at GatlinburgWineCellar.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Summertime, summertime.
The sun is shining, flowers are blooming, and it's time to get your backyard ready for all that summertime fun.
Well, if you want a bigger backyard, or maybe you don't want to mow anymore, let us help you find the home that fits your needs.
Houses are flying off the market so quickly, you really need to get a real estate agent to help you to find that dream home.
That's why you don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty, C&D Team, 443-3130.
Charles Lehman is asking for your vote for Wilson County Trustee August 4th. Charles grew up in Noreen and has been a lifelong resident of Wilson County. Charles Lehman brings a strong education tempered with decades of experience to provide the citizens of Wilson County with a rock-solid background for their next trustee. Working as an appraiser for the comptroller of the Treasury for 34 years and going into real estate after retirement, Charles brings a strong foundation to serve as your next trustee. Paid for by committee to elect Charles Lehman Treasurer.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Our program this morning featuring Andy Ogles, candidate for 5th District Congress, who is paying for the time and talking more about his candidacy. You seem to feel good about your chances of winning.
Well, we just worked really hard, and there's a lot of good people in this race, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that's got the proven track record, and the voters, that's resonating with people. With me, you know what you get. During COVID, I was never anti-mask, but I was against the mandates. During COVID, I was never anti-vaccine, but I was against the mandates. And, when our hospital employees were targeted, I stood out there with them and protested and demanded that they have a right to exert their religious, exemptions. And ultimately, the hospital honored those requests. But it's one of those. It's about personal choice. Your listeners are they're all grown adults. They can make their own decisions. You don't need the government telling you, how to manage your health care. And quite frankly, remember, we have HIPAA for a reason. That protects you. That protects your privacy. And these last few years, that's been just ignored, and that's a scary think about it for a second. Suddenly, you've got the government telling you what you can and can't do as far as your health care. That's a bridge too far, and we just can't cross that ever again. And so again, if you want to wear a mask, that's your decision. If you want the vaccine, that's your decision, but you shouldn't have the government forcing you to do something against your will. This is America, for Pete's sake.
I think we've talked about a little bit about just about all the issues that we thought were important when you were here before, but the runaway inflation, the deficit that we have in this country, and of course gasoline prices have come down a little, but it's still takes an awful lot to fill up a car anymore. That's got to be a concern of the people you're talking with, and I have an idea you'd like to address some of that again as you're here this morning.
Well, what your listeners may not know is, that I'm actually an economist. And so when it comes to the budget and inflation, I'm the most qualified to address this issue. I've had the privilege of working with Newt Gingrich. I've had the privilege of working for Dr. Laffer, who's a world-renowned economist. And, when you look at the current economic indicators, and I'm not going to bore you with an economics lesson, but there's some really troubling indicators in the economy that are not only flashing a recession, but it could be a very severe recession. And so, whether it's local government or the federal government, now's not the time to be spending and wasting money. Look, we've had to tighten our budget in our household, right? If you're paying more for food, if you're paying more for fuel, that's a tax increase by way of inflation. And so you have a lot of families out there that are literally struggling to pay their bills because of bad policies by this Biden administration. Look, we've got plenty of oil and gas in this country. We don't need Russia. We don't need China. And we certainly don't need the Middle East. And by the way, all three of those are our enemy. We need to drill, baby, drill is what I always say. I gave a speech the other day and I said, look, we need to be drilling in the federal, the parks and wherever else you can. We drill in the Gulf. And I said, if you find oil in my backyard, drill my backyard. But whatever we've got to do to become energy independent again and have $2 gas, and that affects everything. And so,
well, environmentalists are saying, or I'm hearing, that they're after the president to get these electric cars so that we don't have to have gasoline, and that they're wanting the price of gas to go up to encourage that because of the environmental concerns.
Well, I got a news flash for all the tree huggers out there. The rare earth metals that go in these electric batteries and these cars are controlled by China. And if you haven't been paying attention the last 2.5 years, China's the enemy. This virus came from China. And when it was released, whether it was accidental or intentional, doesn't matter, they waited to tell the world about it. They lied about their numbers, and that killed people. And so if you think we're going to be dependent on a country that hates us, they've disrupted supply chains on purpose. They're trying to destroy our economy. Wake up, America. China is not our friend. We need to bring these companies back to America. We need to have him here so that we're not producing, 60, 70, 80% of our pharmaceuticals come from China now. Think about that for a minute. That medicine that you're taking, that medicine that your loved one is taking, that's life and death, you're dependent on China as to whether or not you're going to get it. That's the future of the economy. It's not bombs that are going to kill us. It's economic warfare. And we've seen that the last 2.5 years. The way COVID has played out was deliberately done by China to hurt America. They want to be the only world superpower. You know, we had a debate the other night, the Epic Times. It was nationally televised. And the reason why I won the debate, because there was a poll afterwards, is because I just tell the facts as they are. And if you don't like it, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. But we are at a pivotal point in this country. This is do or die for America. We either get this right, or we're going to all be speaking Chinese here in a few years. So wake up, go vote, and I apologize if I sound harsh, but we literally are at a crossroads historically. When you look back through history, you can say, hey, that was a pivotal point in American history. And if it hadn't been for George Washington, if it hadn't been for Ronald Reagan, things would be different today. This is one of those moments where it matters who leads. It literally matters who leads. And the future of this country is at stake in this election.
We got about 6 minutes left here this morning. There's got to be some other things that you want to talk about. You're paying for the time. I want you to bring out the things that you feel that are important. There's got to be a few more.
Well, we've got this event with Trace Atkins coming up. The hard part about running for Congress is, there'll be roughly 100,000 votes cast in this election, and it's hard to meet everyone. And I've been traveling around, going to the small get-togethers and whatever, literally trying to meet as many people in the 5th Congressional District as possible. And I would love to meet you. I literally would love to sit down, shake your hand, take a selfie, whatever it is, answer your questions. But I'd love for you to come out, go to andyogles.com or go into Facebook and just, if you punch in my name, and you can register for the event. It's a great opportunity for us to meet. And, if you have doubts or if you just want to make sure that I'm the person for you, again, my track record speaks for itself. I refused to close Murray County down because every job was important. Every business was important. And I was offended that the government suddenly was choosing who was important and who wasn't.
When you were here the last time, we asked you a little bit about your family, and I have an idea you'd love to let everybody know again a little bit, but you are a family man.
Oh, yeah, grew up here in Middle Tennessee. My family's roots goes back to the founding of this state. Married my high school sweetheart. We have 3 beautiful children, 15-year-old daughter, 12-year-old son, and a 7-year-old son, and that they are the reason why I'm doing this, is that their future is at stake. And if we don't get this country back on track, they grow up in a different America than you and I grew up in. And so, it's kind of cliche to say I'm doing this for the kids, but I'm literally doing this for the kids. I mean, when my wife and I were trying to decide whether or not I would run for Congress, she was the one that said, you know what, you have to do this. You stood up and fought for us as mayor. We need somebody that's going to stand up and fight for us as a congressman. And she said, honey, or Andy, you don't have a choice. And so here I am. I'm running. We're winning, which is why the Rhinos are going to spend $500,000 to try to beat me in these last 2.5 weeks. But I'm confident that God's plan will unfold, and I just put faith in God.
What is the biggest issue here? Is it? Let me say this a different way. I mean, you got 9 choices out here, and I've met all 9 of you, and everybody's got an angle they're coming from, so to speak. And there's not a one that I really disliked. The choices may be difficult for some people.
Actually, I agree. A lot of great people running in this race, 9 choices. But, a lot of people can read, anyone can read from talking points, right? But actions speak louder than words. And, I'm the only person in this race that led during COVID. I was the only person in this race that stood up against the mandates. I was the only person that during COVID was getting death threats because I wouldn't bow down to the liberal media. And I never wavered. I never took for granted the power that had been vested in me by the people of Murray County, and I fought for them in the same way that I'm going to fight for you when I'm your congressman.
Well, we did talk about, I know border thing, the open border with almost open border with Mexico is something that's on a lot of people's minds. You addressed that before, but just to set the record straight, you'd like that to be different.
Well, I mean, we have no choice but to close, not only build the wall and close the border, but to secure the border. I mean, we have over 2 million people came into this country last year. 2 million. That's twice the population of Delaware. Think about that for a minute. 2 million people is a larger population than like 16 different states. And so this administration has become a criminal enterprise. They're literally ignoring, federal law. Mayorkas, who's the Secretary of Homeland Security, should be tried for treason. He's allowing us to be invaded. And so this is a national security issue. It puts a huge burden on state and local governments, whether it be healthcare or schools, et cetera. And so it's an economic issue. And then again, we have a humanitarian crisis. What they do to women and children as they cross the border, the abuse that they suffer. And so you can pick your lane, whether it's national security, whether it's economics, or whether it's just humanitarian, Republican or Democrat. We have to close that border. We have to get immigration under control, and there can be no amnesty. If you're here illegally, you're going to have to get a work permit. You're going to have to pay our taxes, but you never become a citizen, and you never get to vote. That's the way it is in the rest of the world. If you and I want to go work overseas, we have to get a work permit, we have to pay their taxes, and we can never become a citizen. It's not that complicated. And again, I just want to remind everybody, the reason why Congressman Jim Jordan, most conservative congressman in Congress right now, has endorsed me is because I am the conservative in this race. Congressman Perry, who's the chairman of the Freedom Caucus, he's supporting me because I'm the most conservative person in this race.
All right, we're out of time, but just real quickly, you want people to the meet and greet, so remind them of that.
Yeah, so go to andyogles.com or check out Andy Ogles on Facebook. We've got, next week, we've got this meet and greet with Trace Atkins. It's going to be an amazing event. It's here locally, and so come on out. I'd love to meet you. Love to shake your hand. Love to get a selfie, and let's go do this thing.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it, and the time paid for by Andy Ogles for 5th District Congress. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
That's it for Friday. Have a nice weekend. Till Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.